Good morning, folks. I want to chime in on a couple of things. Mostly my 2 cents regarding the school shootings. We got a senator named Wendy Rogers who's being criticized because she said Fed Boy Summer has started. Something to that effect. I haven't read it, studied it exactly. She said something that on first hearing sounds kind of stupid. So why do you want to censor somebody who's saying something stupid, especially if they're your enemy? Let them embarrass themselves. But the Democrats are going after her because of what she said. Now, this is nothing more or less than censorship. So if you're going to enforce censorship in a land where there's First Amendment free speech rights, you don't have a republic anymore. You don't even have a civilization anymore. You've lost your culture, you've lost your way. We can't even have an open debate. Now, as far as the senator goes, I think that what she said ought to be taken into serious consideration. I really think that a lot of these shootings have involved federal agents behind the scene, and a lot of these other conspiracies involve federal agents. Now, look at 9/11. Hold on. Look at the first bombing of the World Trade Center. Was or was not the FBI involved in that beforehand? Okay, look at Oklahoma City bombing. Was or was not the FBI involved in that beforehand? Okay, look at the family, the parents in Indiana who complained that the federal government, the CIA, was taking their 21-year-old mentally, marginally ill, their borderline schizophrenic son, and trying to turn him into a shooter. The parents came out and said that, and that's probably what saved that young man from being tossed into the meat grinder. And look at the Aurora shooting, the first one of the first ones, if not the first one, or the second Aurora shooting, or I just remember there was a shooting in which the young man who was accused was found sitting on the curb distraught, and they grabbed him up then. And of course, the fellow who did the shooting was all masked up. We don't know if it was that boy, if it was another agent acting in there. Look at the Sandy Hook thing. Oh, okay, I know. Jones got sued over slander on that. I don't think that was properly investigated. And the second 9/11, or the real 9/11 where the Trade Towers came down, that was never investigated properly. That was covered up by Chertoff, by a Mossad, son of two Mossad agents. We shouldn't have Israeli dual citizens in any government position. You want to end school shootings. Ladies, how did prohibition work the first time you forced that on the rest of us? On us men? It didn't work, did it? It didn't work at all. It was very destructive for the country, and it led to organized crime. I'm talking about the bootleggers, and I'm talking about the cure, the creation of the FBI. Our founders never would have had an FBI. Policing was reserved to the states, not to the federal government. The federal government's not supposed to be able to do that. The FBI is totally out of control. You've got separate sections of the FBI. You don't believe me when I say the FBI has had hit teams and assassination squads? Go read Michael Collins Piper's book, Final Judgment. You don't even have to read halfway through. You'll find the name of the FBI agent who was whacking kids under J. Edgar Hoover's orders. His name's right in there. That's just one of them. I'm not saying every FBI agent, but I'm saying you got a bad group inside there. Same with the CIA. Not every CIA agent, but you got a bad group inside there. Same with the damn Jesuits. Not every Jesuit, but you got a bad group inside there. Same with the Jews. Certainly not the Jews wholesale, bulk, but you got some weirdos in there who actually don't even believe in God. So I don't know what kind of a Jew that is. But it says in the Bible, those who say you are Jews and are not. It says it twice in Revelations. What I'm getting at is if you want to end the school shootings, then stop the prohibition on guns. Same in Chicago, stop the prohibition on guns. You let the average young man and young woman learn how to use firearms properly, safely, and I don't mean a government program at all. It used to be a cultural thing where you grew up, you learned about guns. You grew up, you got your pocket knife when you were a little boy. Yeah, we all carried them. Nobody cared. I mean, it was just a tool in your pocket. The teachers didn't care. We probably cut apples and trimmed fingernails more than anything else with those nasty, dirty things that we use for anything under the sun. Today, you draw a picture of a knife in school and you're expelled. That's nuts. When I went to school, we had guns in school. We had the gun team, the rifle team. I never was on the rifle team at school, but they had some of the best 22s and best shooters there were. And there were times in which a lot of us had shotguns and rifles in our vehicles waiting because we couldn't wait to get out of school and go do something we loved, going hunting. Or we went hunting before in the early hours of the morning and left our shotguns in the car. Folks, this prohibition attitude is sick and it's bad. It's just like prohibiting Wendy Rogers from saying something that might be actually stupid, might be actually trash. I mean, let's debate. Are there any federal activities involved in any of these shootings, like the Pulse nightclub? Oh, yeah. And these people in Homeland Security have got actors and actresses to do the role playing and be interviewed on television because, you know, those people are so unintelligent and so drug laden and alcohol and drugs, you know, and they're just stupid. You know, all homosexuals are stupid, so we have to do that. I mean, that's the attitude. I'm sorry, some of the smartest people I ever met were gay people. I don't give a shit, you know. I mean, if you're intelligent, you're intelligent. If you got something to say that's going to enlighten me, I want to hear it. Let Wendy Rogers speak, but the Democrats got to go after her to back the government. The government can do nothing wrong. Yeah, what did they do during Prohibition? Oh, that's right. They only spiked the alcohol with poisonous alcohol, with wood alcohol. They put poison in the booze as a part of Prohibition. So do you trust this government? Oh, yeah, and you blacks out there, remember the Tuskegee Project? The Tuskegee Project was in Alabama. I'm trying to remember the name of the town. I had a client from there. Had a kind of a mild case of schizophrenia. She was a nice lady. Macon, Georgia. Yeah, the Tuskegee Project. They didn't want you to know which population they experimented on with long-term syphilis purposely given to you by the United States government. You trust this government? Hell no, I don't. We need to cut it down in size. Look, I hate citing the Israelis and lauding them for anything because I think they're our enemies. They attacked the USS Liberty, they did 9/11, and they whacked President Kennedy. And that's our ally, our only ally in the Middle East? Oh man, with friends like that, who could wish for better enemies? Look, folks, prohibition on guns isn't going to work. We need to bring it back into the culture. I would love to see the NRA do something good for a change, and they should be having a gun safety course in every school in the nation. And I'm talking everyone, including elementary school. Young kids need to be taught, you don't touch them. You just don't touch them. You tell an adult, and you don't touch them unless your parents are with you. Something along that lines. It sounds pretty reasonable to me. Anyway, that's the number one thing, is end the prohibition on guns. Bring it back into the culture. Now here's the other part of it. You ladies out there aren't going to like this when I say it, but you got to end the war on men. This culture's been anti-male for so long. It's not funny. We're to blame for everything, and you take advantage of us in the courts. We aren't allowed abortion rights. Now, you say men and women, there's no difference, and we're supposed to have the same rights. Then why is it that when a child is terminated, it's not required that the father be given an opportunity to voice his concern? If he objects and wants the child, why can't he claim his child and stop you from murdering his child? Yeah, you want equality, but you sure don't give it. You don't play fair. You never played fair. I don't know why we call you fair at all. Yeah, you're lovely. Okay, big effing deal. The problem is you've caused a lot of trouble and you've destroyed this country. You are the ones that put Barack Obama in office. I don't even blame the blacks for that one. I blame white women. Dumb white women for putting Barack Obama in office. And how do you like Obama's third term as president, huh? I'm sorry, but the 19th Amendment, women's right to vote, it's got to go away. You can't have a right to vote at the federal level. It's a state's action. And at this point, I'm so glad abortion is going to be returned to the states where it belongs. Because I want to live in a state in which it's a murder charge. That's right. The physician and the woman get charged with murder. That's where I stand. Now, I know that's a harsh stand. And you might think, well, we need to split the baby. We need to be able to come to some sort of agreement. All I can say is, you go live in your state, I'll go live in my state. And I want to kick some ass. I want those women charged with murder. It ain't natural for a woman to kill her child, kill her baby. You tell us you're compassionate and loving and nurturing, and you're going to whack your kids? You know, even in Alaska, the Alaska women have a tradition. And the tradition, the general tradition across all those natives in Alaska, and the reason we have more than 154 different tribes is because they don't like each other, and they move away from each other, and they do all kinds of stuff to each other. They're very divided. But on some general principles, the natives in Alaska agree. Women, as the giver of life, is not allowed to take a life. Now think about that. That means women can't go out and hunt. They can't take a life. And why was it that way? Oh, that's real sexist of the men, I'm sure. Look, the men went out and hunted. They took the lives. They killed. They brought the game. They brought the fish back to their wives. Their wives prepared it. Now, it was a team thing. And we had an island out there when the Russians occupied. They took the men away, so the women had to go do the killing, hunting for food, subsistence. And that destroyed a lot of those women's psyches, their spirit. It was kind of a cultural war. Not a very fair deal. Now, I've just said the Russians, it might have been us Americans. I don't remember everything, and I don't get it exactly right. But I got this right. End the war on men. End the war on fathers. Fathers need to have responsibilities. I'm sure you all agree. We got to earn the money and give you the money. It's all most of you women care about. Don't we get some of the privileges? No, we can't have any of the privileges. We can't be involved in a decision as to whether or not a pregnancy is going to be terminated. You know, it's not like we have a choice. It's not like we can bear the children ourselves. I mean, nature is nature. I don't give a damn how many genders you want to claim there are. Nature is nature. The number one cause of criminality, it's only one cause of criminality. And if you want to reduce crime, you ladies have to let men do their jobs. You have to get out of the way. You have to stop marrying the federal government and marrying the courts and taking advantage of men. What do those guys say? It's divorce grape. Something like that. Divorce rape. A man should automatically be awarded custody of his children, full custody and sole custody in the event of a divorce. It's in the best interest of the child. It's in the best interest of society. Why is that? Because in intact families, only 6% of boys go to prison, go to jail. In intact families, only 6%. Most of them don't go to jail. 94%, no lifetime criminal justice system incidents. Single parent head of household, female. Guess what the rate is? 70% of boys go to prison. Because you women don't know how to father. You can't do it. You weren't meant to do it alone. You weren't designed for that. Period. That's end of argument. Nothing to be debated on that. 70%. It's like you're taking that child and you're sentencing it to go into prison for what? For the sake of catering to the mother and awarding her custody and all kinds of prizes and money? For what? For breach of contract? For screwing around on the guy and then calling it a no-fault divorce? Oh, and what's the rate of boys getting in trouble when they're reared by father and father alone? Take a good guess. 6%. The same, exact same as being reared by mother and father together. So based upon that science right there and that fact, that statistic, men should be awarded custody of their children. Oh, we only have the studies on boys. But if we had the studies on girls, you women out there might wake up and realize what damage you do to your daughters. Oh, sure. Daughters need their mothers. Daughters need their fathers. Otherwise, they grow up to be bigger crooks than the boys. They grow up to be nastier, more diabolical. I think the default divorce in this country, we need to go back to that fault so you ladies aren't rewarded prizes and goodies for breaching of contract and getting away with it. This no-fault divorce is a bunch of BS. It needs to go away. And we need to automatically award custody to the father. Now, it's not like we have a lot of other options. We are only going to have so many opportunities to reproduce. Oh, in case you're wondering, 80% of females get to reproduce. Only 40% of men get to reproduce. So that's only half as many men have children as females. So what does that mean about you females? It means you're banging the same men, getting impregnated by the same guys. Now, okay, you're going after the guys with the fat wallets. You're going after the guys that can provide. It's for security. Actually, you go after the bad boys probably more than that, faster than that, because it's a turn-on for you. Anyway, let's liberalize gun ownership and possession. Let's liberalize gun safety. The NRA is not much good for anything, but let's let them do their safety training courses. That's what the NRA is good at. They're not good at protecting our rights and defending the Second Amendment. Not good at all. They're a bunch of sellouts. Gun owners of America is better at that. But let's mainstream self-defense. Let's mainstream gun ownership. Let's allow teachers that want to take their guns to school. It's going to be a big responsibility. They shouldn't take it lightly. I don't want to see any government programs to putting guns in the school. There's too much government as it is. We need to cut this government down to size. I certainly don't want to see any more infringements. I would love to see the National Firearms Act go away. It's an infringement. And this being enforced in an illegal manner by the ATF. The ATF is in violation of the law. There's no consequences, except I'd like to see their funding pulled completely. I think they're NFG. I think they're non-functional gear, and they need to go away at this point. I'm hearing impaired from shooting 22s when I was a little boy. in an NRA in the basement, target shooting, and forgot my earplugs. It's inhuman to deny somebody protections, especially little boys and little girls. Little girls need to protect their hearing too if they're going to go shooting guns. And I want to see the girls out there shooting guns. By God, every woman I ever took out to shoot my handgun or shooting a pistol outshot me. It was embarrassing every time, even my own mother. Of course, she about shot her toes off because she dropped the pistol down towards her feet and about shoot her toes off. My dad would sit on the hill behind us. He was pretty smart about it. And he'd yell at her, "Carolyn, you know, get the gun up." Oh. She'd say, oh, she'd drop it down all the time. Well, she liked shooting the big, heavy revolver. She didn't like shooting a little light 22. My mom was something else. Only when she found out the cost of ammunition did she want to shoot the 22, but then she really wasn't interested in shooting anything. She was so advanced on the computer that there were some times in which I actually called my mom and she gave me tips and advice. You know, things that we forget, like, oh, is the battery low in your mouse, you know? We all had that problem back then. Anyway, I miss my mom, miss my dad. Women have better hand-eye coordination than men. You've got better nerve strength than a man has. And there's real good evidence on that. And I don't want to gloat on you too much and tell you you're superior to us, but you were given extra capacities for the purposes of motherhood. You all used it to manipulate and for womanly purposes. And of course, you drove yourself crazy that way. So you want security, but you don't want a man to be able to defend you when the time comes until it's too late. So you pull the rug out from underneath the men. You do your best to support this anti-male culture. It's an anti-male culture. Don't kid yourself. Look at Toyota's commercials. Look at Glenn Beck's commercials about how he's a dumb man and his wife has to tell him what to do to take care of himself. Oh, he's got a little pain. We need to respect fathering. We need to give it its rightful place, and it should be dominant in this culture. It was dominant in the Old Testament in the Bible. An Israelite is a paternal. It's a patriarchy. So what's with this matriarchy of the Jews? Does that mean they're not Israelites? Yeah, it does. Remember, their inheritance, the lineage is inherited from the mother. There's good reason for that. But the best reason is it betrays the fact that they're not Israelites. They're a new critter that developed after that. Moses wasn't a Jew. Yeah, except in that bad Bible that the Jews put together. Samuel Untermeyer and the rabbis put together that nice Christian Bible. How nice of them. They put more in footnotes and study notes and political hogwash and brainwashing in those notes than there was Bible text in the Schofield Reference Study Bible. Schofield didn't write it. A bunch of rabbis wrote it. Just like any other group, there's bad figs everywhere. And you need to clean up your own group. Because we're going to be getting to fighting here. And if you don't clean up your own group, and I'm talking to white people, I'm talking to black people, I'm talking to green people, I don't give a damn what your color is. I don't give a damn what kind of a blend you might be. Because most of us are blends and we're hybrids at this point. You got to face it. Stop the shooting. Especially in Chicago. Chicago should issue permits. Yeah, I think they should be issuing permits for pistols, and they should be liberalizing and allowing gun stores to open up and sell guns. And they should be doing their best to get the 22s out there. It's a nice small caliber. It sure as hell would kill a man just like anything else will. And it's manageable, and it's something that those beginners in Chicago ought to have. And you ought to get rid of that Lori White. Why the heck is she called Lightfoot or whatever it is? I'm sorry, but that's a poor excuse for a woman. She's pretty ugly. Ugly as a human being, not just as a woman. She's got those goofy eyes. And those goofy thoughts behind those eyes. Those goofy ideas that she can control it all. I'm sorry, ladies. You can't control it all. You need some men up there with you. And you want to run the show. All these women running for governor in Arizona, I don't want a single one of them. Z impresses me. But I'll tell you a little secret, Z, if you're listening to this, or anybody else. The first person in the gubernatorial race who says we need to create and found the Arizona Militia, a voluntary organization, that person wins the governorship. Okay. I gotta go shooting for a change. I don't do it enough. And I don't feel real confident. I hope we never have to turn to these devices and rely upon those. But self-defense doesn't start with a gun. It starts up here. My neighbor wanted me to sell a gun to him. And at the very end, he spoiled it. He'd never even fired a gun. Sorry, bud. I'm not selling you your first gun. That's all there is to it. I don't need the money that badly. I think you're dangerous. I think you're dangerous to yourself. Go take some classes somewhere. I ain't giving you my dad's gun. It's already gone. I sold it to a retired cop. He knows what to do with it. Thank God we've got men like that around here today still. Yahweh bless.